Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and berries, this is Magic Brad with the Magic Brad Show here at an undisclosed location in the western suburbs of Minneapolis and St. Paul. You can notice the background's a little different. It's not virtual, it's actual brick. I'm just in a different space because, as some of you already know, we're moving. We're moving into a new home, so I'm going to open up a new home studio. So it'll look different in a week or two or three. So I'm going to bring on my guest today. He's a guy that used to live near where I used to live when I was in Asheville, North Carolina. So he's been there, done that. And let's bring him on. Common name, just like mine, Brandon Beachum. Brandon, how you doing?
Hello, Brad. Common like my son, Brad Beachum. So
Yes.
it's a pleasure to see you and connect.
Isn't it kind of miraculous? I mean, I'm still amazed at how we can do this literally globally. I can connect with somebody on the farthest possible place and have a conversation like this these days. This used to cost $100 to talk to somebody on the other side of the planet.
Yeah, it really is wild to think about how far we've come in such a little amount of time. Sort of the quickening of evolution that, this sort of exponential growth took us thousands and thousands of years to make any progress. And then, all of a sudden we double that, then we double that, then we double that. I mean, what will we be doing in 10 years? Who knows?
It doubles faster too. I mean, how long has Facebook really been around?
Not very long. I just saw something earlier and said within 10 years, computers will be able to read our thoughts, images that we think about, and then display them on a screen within 10 years. So
well, it feels like it's kind of already happening.
Yeah, I know.
Well, here's our topic for today. We're going to talk about your book, and it's The Golden Key. What does the Golden Key open?
Ooh, modern alchemy to unlock infinite abundance. So the Golden Key unlocks infinite abundance, I would say.
Oh, that's a lot of abundance. Infinite abundance.
It is, and the reason it can unlock infinite abundance because you are infinite abundance. Abundance is our birthright. It is the quintessence of our being, the essence of the essence. You are, by virtue of the fact that we are all one with the source consciousness that creates and animates all things. Everywhere you go, you're there waiting for yourself. All of the abundance that exists is an extension of you in some way, shape, or form. So all we need to do is learn how to allow more of it in, how to turn the tap on a bit more and allow. We're these little acorns that need the right conditions for, the right sunlight and soil and water so that we can sprout into the oak trees of abundance that we're meant to blossom into.
Yeah, I'm turning 64 in June, and it's about unlearning. For me, there's so many things that, I mean, is that kind of what the Golden Key is figuring out how to realize that abundance is there and it's your limiting beliefs that say it's not?
Yep. I would say that is a fair thing to say. When you come holding your bag of sugar to be filled, it will be examined to see how large it is. What do you believe is your worth? Abracadabra translates to I create as I speak. And we are literally casting spells. We're spelling with our words. We're casting a spell. Our words are our wands. And so, learning how to, reframe our understanding of the nature of the situation in which we find ourselves. And I always say right at the front of the book, look, just read this stuff with an open mind. I don't expect anyone to just take my word for it. Open-mindedly explore it and apply some of these perspectives and see what kind of results they get.
Well, you're speaking my language when you talk about abracadabra and the words. So
that's right. It's magic man.
Totally. I mean, I've been doing magic since I was like 4 or 5, so my brain has been developed that way. So I definitely think differently than most people. And one of the hardest things I have to accept is when someone says we can't do that, and I'm thinking like, what do you mean? Like when Trump wanted to do a wall. Well, you can. That's kind of the point. I mean, when Trump wanted to do a wall thing, it's like, okay, you can kind of slow people down, but they're going to go over it, around it, under it. Some are going to go through it.
Yeah.
There's really, but still, again, when I'm 64 years old, I've got these beliefs. Like I have this thing where if I use a paper clip to bend something or open something, I got to bend it back because I don't want to waste it. I've got that lack consciousness of conservativeness. You want to hang on to certain things because they're valuable, and hoarders do that kind of stuff. But there's always new stuff coming along.
Yeah, well, when you start to understand that hoarding actually cuts off the flow of energy, right?
Totally.
So it's really interesting when you start paying attention to like, oh, I've got all these extra clothes. What if instead of hoarding them out of fear of not enough and scarcity mentality, I allow them to go out into the world and be utilized by an extension of me that will benefit. And I found I had about a year or so ago where I had a jacket that was really special to me. I called it the magic jacket, and it's a whole story how this thing came to be known as the magic jacket. And part of that journey of me and the magic jacket was letting it go one day when the time was right and allowing it to adventure somewhere else and create magic elsewhere. And that moment appeared in dramatic fashion. And I had the sort of back and forth of, oh, I love this jacket. Am I really going to give it up right now? And I did. And the very next day, someone gifted me a custom jacket they had made for me. And so it was a great example of how this stuff works, in all the ways when you allow things to flow, even like monetary, monergy, right? It's called, they also refer to it as currency. It's
Right.
meant to flow.
Yep. And that exactly that. It's like, you have to give away the money. People think, oh, why should I give away my money? I want more. And it doesn't make any sense to them. But like I mentioned, I think I mentioned online here that we're moving, and miraculously, a friend of my wife's, she's moving her dad into another place, and they've got this home that's got stuff. So we're helping move, and what's there, rakes and shovels and snow blowers and all the stuff that we need is right there. It just pops into existence when you create a vacuum.
Yeah, you got it.
So that's the golden key is kind of like the key to a vacuum cleaner, huh?
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah, it definitely. One of the stories I share in the Golden Key, you make me think of, is how as we take this journey of self-realization and understanding that everything is there to make us more of what we're meant to become and expand. A lot of times that can show up in the form of challenges. And of course, understanding that your challenges are blessings. And you make me think of a story that I share a little bit of. And when you say a vacuum, because I have crazy amount of synchronicity with my birthday. It's my dad's birthday, grandmother's birthday, great died on that day. It's like a 10-minute thing. I mean, that's the first 30 seconds, I could keep going. And it's just like a jaw dropping, never unfolding, never stops unfolding. And I had a guy, I run a communal property called the Mystic Manor in Venice Beach, Los Angeles area. And this guy showed up to stay here with my birthday. And so I'm like, okay, here's, another reflection. And it was the most challenging person I'd ever dealt with. And I almost shut the whole place down because this person was so difficult. And it was like, oh, if my shadow was to appear external of myself, and my 14-year-old shadow was triggered, and, but it wasn't lost on me what was happening. I was like, okay, if I pass this lesson and navigate this properly, it will go away because I don't need the lesson anymore. Even though I didn't see an out, he was saying, I'm not leaving. I'll never leave. I'll bring this place down. And I got the lesson. I passed the test, and he miraculously left. Now
you don't
we're
need to
friends.
push him out; he'll go.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny is I remember that afternoon, someone said it was like a vacuum that was created over the Mystic Manor. It was like a tornado hit this place. I was down the road, and it was perfect weather, and here it was like stuff was blown off my balcony. And so I think what happened is energetically, whatever him and I had going on probably for lifetimes was cleared in a healthy way. And as soon as he left, it was like a vacuum of new energy could swirl in a way that the people that were here were like, Brandon, we thought the house was going to blow down. It was wild. So, it gives you you made me think of that with the whole vacuum thing.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it can go that way physically, with wind. And my wife is a shaman, so I've got to deal with that kind of stuff sometimes. When she's doing some work in her office and things start happening, I wonder, what the hell are you doing in there?
Yep.
We got one of our guest friend here. Hey, Frank,
Hey.
how you doing there?
Yo. Hey, Frank.
He's late. You apologize for being late. Frank is a magician friend of mine.
I have a good friend that's a magician. and every time I see him, he goes, "You're in a dream. What are you dreaming right now?" That's his and he's amazing. I mean, I saw him do a trick that I've seen him do a lot over the year plus we've been friends, where he comes by and dazzles people at the Mystic Manor. And he did one that I just, to this day, I'm like, wow. Maybe you could, I mean, I know magicians never tell, but I had some retreat guests from my podcast. I do a podcast called Positive Head, and some guests stayed here on retreat for, I did that for many, many months, regular retreats. And these guys were trying to move some things with their mind. They were playing around with, telekinesis, and he just showed up and he goes, "Oh, I can do that." And we're like, "Oh, here's the magician. Okay, cool." And he said, "Okay, pick a card." They took a card and pulled it out, and he said, "Don't show it to me. Now put it back in the deck." And he turned away. They put the card back in the deck, and then he put it on the ground right at our feet. We're all like hovered over this thing. He holds his hands out, and the deck starts shaking, and that card flipped out face up that they had put back in. That one was, I mean, I'm right there looking closely at it. Like, I don't know. You tell me.
Exactly. Well, you're right. We can't tell. We could, but it's kind of like telling a little kid that Santa Claus is your dad. It takes all the magic out of it. So
yeah.
We keep the magic there, but yep, there are those kind of things, and there's some people that believe that you can actually physically do stuff, but you have to have some pretty serious powers to be able to really physically do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think a lot of this, like what you're talking about with the golden key and things, it's I think it's hard to actually manipulate physical reality, but when you get in the vortex and you get into the right space and the right things start aligning, the physical stuff will take over and it will just do its thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Like the serendipities you talked about. I have a thing that my wife was working on. She called it the synchronicity experience. And I have a belief that if, like, say for example, I live here in or we'll go out in LA. You're out in Los Angeles, right?
Yep.
So you're out there. There's things about. The Magic Castle's out there. About Hollywood. Disneyland. You got all these familiar things. But if you were to drive a car out to where I am, you'd be in Minneapolis going, "There's nothing familiar here." Now, if you were to turn around to go back home, you would start driving and you'd start noticing things that are familiar. Hey, there's Las Vegas. That's by where I live. And you get more and more synchronicities because they're happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Synchronized energies. I guess coincidences, hyphenated. They're incidences that are happening. That means you're getting closer to home. So I think if a person if a person has a desire for something, all they have to do is start focusing on it, and they'll start noticing coincidences that say you're getting closer to it. So be aware. And all of a sudden they will go there, and there's that key, that golden key. Grab it, open it, get what you wanted.
I like that. I like the way, you describe it. You're closer to home. I often say it feels like when I'm really in the flow and on my greatest trajectory timeline wise, out of all the potentials that could be, more of that stuff opens up, and it really is, in a similar way. I like the way that you're saying it a lot. It's like, oh, you're getting warmer. You're getting closer to home. You're getting closer to home. So, very cool.
So your book, like the Golden Key, sometimes, I mean, I guess it's an image or a symbol that you might not even know that the key is in your hand or it's right real close. Like when we were moving to Asheville, North Carolina, I didn't know why we were moving to Asheville. I never even heard of the place, but we started seeing a lot of things. We saw a little blow card comes out of a magazine and says, "Visit Asheville," the Convention Bureau. And then so a group of my wife's friends were moving. She worked at the University of Minnesota, and they were moving. Guess where they're going? Asheville, North Carolina.
Yep.
There was another group of her friends that had just moved here. Guess where they came from? Asheville, North Carolina. And then when we went to pick up the moving truck, the guy that had the truck, he says, "I got a brother that lives in North Carolina." I go, "Where?" He goes, "I think it's Asheville."
Yeah.
Well, all these coincidences, and I never realized why we're going to Asheville. But before we had moved, I had a minor stroke. They call it a transient ischemic attack, TIA. It was just about a 3-minute episode of me talking kind of funny and my hand was weird.
Wow.
So I had that episode. Asheville is a very healing town. The mountains are like on crystal and it's very clean mountain air. I was going there to heal. That's why I was being called to go to Asheville. So that golden key was, hey, get your ass to Asheville. But I didn't know it at first.
Get your Asheville.
Get your Asheville. Get on to Asheville. Yes. Here's something more Frank says. He says there's so much connectedness in the universe, it's almost impossible to not notice it unless you're completely oblivious. The more you notice, the more powerful the result. You are correct. We're in total agreement there.
Yeah,
Very
I would
cool.
agree.
So is this your first book or your third or your?
It's my first. Yeah, this is the first book. And it came to me, you know, signs and synchronicities kind of go hand in hand in my world. You know, in the dream state, I'll receive things sometimes. In this case, August 6th, I was shown in detail sort of okay, here's the content of the book. Here's how you approach it. Here's the unique way in which you'll market it and spread the abundance. And so, I then proceeded to say, oh, what would I call this concept? Oh, the golden key. Let me search. And if anyone's used that name, oh, wow. 100 years ago, there was an essay called The Golden Key written that in the description on Amazon was like very similar. I'd, you know, kind of envisioned this gamified way that I would distribute it and invite people to get playful with it at the end. And, you know, this golden key from 100 years ago, same thing in the description. I dare you to try and see for yourself the ideas in this, you know. So it was really cool. A lot of synchronicity there. And then I went to my friend who's a visionary artist to see if he would do the cover art. I was concerned that he would take way too long to develop the art because of his process, you know, based off my time frame of wanting to release it. I went and told him the whole thing. I had dreamed it. And then, you know, there's a synchronicity around another golden key 100 years ago. And I'd like you to do the art. And I gave him my whole spiel. And then he goes, okay, my turn. About 2 months ago, I had a dream, and he breaks out his dream journal. I was at the Mystic Manor, the communal property I run, and I was hunting for the key to everything. And he went in and read his whole detailed dream. And he goes, so to answer your question, will I start the cover art of a key, a really elaborate key? I started it 2 months ago because I was so inspired by the dream that I had where I was hunting for the key to everything in your house. Yeah. So pretty cool, huh?
My wife does a lot of dream work stuff. That's exactly, she does the waking dream and the sleeping dream, 2 different things. But we've got the gift right here is the golden key .gift, not .com, but .gift. And you can use this code synergy, which is one of my favorite words, synchronized energy, exactly what we're talking about.
Yep.
And that's how you get a hold of this book.
You get the audio and or ebook free with that code. So
very cool. I like it. I'm going to pop that back up a little bit later too. Though you got other things going on too, though. The Mystic Manor, I saw a little bit about that. I lived out in the Covina Glendora area for a while, and I get out there to visit a friend of mine that's down in Borrego Springs. He's got a store down there, and Temecula is where he lives.
Yeah, not so far from here.
I like going to the States and see all the hippies.
It is. It's it's an eclectic place, right? Definitely a hub of transformation and consciousness. And
let me tell you a magic story, and I'm going to tell you how it works, how the trick works.
Okay. All right, I'm in.
Well, here's something that before I lived in Minnesota, so I'm sort of, you know, there's not a lot of action going on here in Minnesota until recently. But I had my first trip out to LA. We went to Venice Beach, and you see all these belly dancers and clanging the bells and the incense and the drumming and all the hippies and it's very mystical experience. And I'm a little bit scared too, because you got the gangsters and the cholos and all that kind of stuff going on. So I'm there and all this stuff that's unfamiliar to me. It's cool. We're walking along with me and my buddy walking along, just talking and stuff and looking at things. And I turn back and he's gone. He's just gone. And I'm like, whoa. So wow. It felt like he vanished because we were walking down the boardwalk. There's a lot of room on either side. But the timing was just perfect. So here's how it worked. He wasn't playing a trick on me. It's just that I was just looking at stuff, and I happened to look this way. He walks in to go see a T-shirt. I look back, and he's gone. But it
Wow.
felt so weird to me that he
Yeah.
disappeared like that. And then he comes out of the t-shirt place and
Yeah.
there he is.
Oh,
So
he
yeah,
reappeared.
yeah, so sometimes that magic stuff isn't really magic. It's just physical
Eff-
reality and it seems
Effect.
magical.
Yeah.
But getting back to what you're doing there, these things all happen for a reason, and by staying in touch with all these things. So rattle off a little bit real quick about what your the chapters are of the book. How many chapters,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just in
Yeah.
essence, a summary of the book.
Yeah. So I landed on 8 keys, and I really, I've been on this path of remembrance, re-membering, coming back together with the truth of who and what I am, and helping others to do the same for about 25 years, exploring the ultimate nature of reality, as I like to call it. And um, with this book, I really wanted to concisely sum that stuff up in 100 pages or just over 3 hours to listen to. I can tend to be very verbose. 1,500 Positive Head podcast episodes, up to this point. And so I wanted to create something that was super concise and summed it all up. And I landed on 8 keys. And funny enough, I didn't realize at the time that 8 is actually the symbol for abundance in Chinese, both traditional and modern culture. And my brother told me that after I went to release it. He goes, "Oh, all the Chinese folks in my building want to live on the 8th floor because of that." And so I thought that was pretty cool little wink from the universe too.
I want to
But the
share
first,
something with you about that 8 when
sure,
you're done there.
yeah,
So you want me
you
to
want to
do
go
that?
ahead and share?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
Like the number 7, it's very common in a lot of different things. The flower of life and
Mm-hmm.
the music scale. That's kind of
Mm-hmm.
what happens is the do re mi, so do re mi fa sol la ti do. It starts the next octave. So that's the abundant part because you've just finished a cycle, and now you go to the next level.
Cool. I like that.
So I
So
like
the
the
dough is the 8th. It's the reset in
yeah,
that case.
yeah. Is you
Cool.
start from the exact same spot, only it's a different level up.
Love that. That's very
Very
cool.
cool. So that
Yeah.
you got basically 8 chapters. Different.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few more chapters. There's a game at the end and summary and
Oh, fun.
intro and things like that. I call it the golden game. And but I'll read if you'd like. I can rattle off the keys.
You have the
The 8
titles?
keys. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
do
8
that.
keys.
Yeah, let's summarize with that.
All right. The first key is see the oneness. The
Okay.
second key is know the illusion. The third key is focus your flow. The fourth key is align your intentions. The fifth key is be. The sixth key is trust the mystery. The seventh key is love what comes. The eighth key or golden key that ties them all together is master the YOU universe. Master the universe.
Very cool. That's exactly what I was talking about with the 7, the scale.
Yeah.
There's a
Oh, yeah.
there's a thing on I forgot what it's called. It's on YouTube, but it shows how the flower of life comes along. How in the beginning there was nothingness, and then
Mm-hmm.
God needed to define something. So there's a circle,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's
Yep.
duplicated, and you get the second one, and then it
Yep.
ends up getting into the torus.
The overlap becomes like the Vesica Pisces.
Yeah,
If you overlap
exactly.
the
No,
two,
you've seen it.
Yeah. If you look up my late night style, I do my podcast is Positive Head all audio, but my late night style show, Optimistic, the Optimistic Eye logo is really cool. My friend designed it based off of the Vesica
Dude,
Pisces.
we got to do more of this stuff.
Yeah. Check. You can see it at optimistic.tv. You can see the eye is like blinking on there and everything. And it's like the two overlapping with the eye in the middle is the
check out some of the other stuff. It sounds pretty groovy. You ever been to Sedona?
I have just one time. I really want to go again.
I have not, but I want to go one time.
Yeah, I've definitely want to plan a longer trip. I was only there for like half a day or something.
Well, let me pop this up. This is your book. That's what it looks like. Dun, 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 dun. This is Brandon Beachum, The Golden Key. And here's how you get a hold of it for those that need it is go to goldenkey.gift and use the code synergy.
That's it. That
Very
is it.
cool. Well, is there anything else you want to sign off with? And then I'll put you in the green room. We can have some of those digital hors d'oeuvres we've got back there. I actually
Yeah,
had some
they're
prime rib.
delicious.
I don't know if you're vegan or vegetarian or whatever.
I,
It was a
I
good,
I'm
good
I'm a
prime rib.
I only vegan digital delights, Um, so, anything that I want to leave off with,
Yes, please.
the thing that I just will say is wherever you are in your own journey, once you start the small shift from looking at everything as separate is a separate part of you as an extension of you is a game changer. You start just playing with the idea that you are one with the source consciousness that creates and animates all things, and that everywhere you go, you're there waiting for yourself, and that it's happening for you, not to you. And once you start getting that all of the
Mhm.
hardship and challenge that you've had in your life was actually a blessing in disguise, then you can start to transmute all of that stuff into something really useful, just like the caterpillar who melts into a goo that then
Right.
caterpillar destroys everything in its path, melts into a goo at some point. The new imaginal cells feed on that destruction, and it turns them into the butterfly. So all the pain and suffering and destruction, it's a fuel. It's leading you somewhere. It's happening. It's all happening for love at the root level. And once you can start playing with that idea, you really get on the fast track to
Got it.
creating the life
Well,
of
the
your dreams.
suffering thing, if you're using a hammer and you hit your finger and it hurts, that's kind of letting you know that you should learn how to be more accurate with the hammer.
That definitely is a part of that journey. That is definitely a part of the equation.
Well, Brandon, I'm going to pop you into the green room and sign this one off. And if you want to stick around, we'll have a little more chatting. And
Excellent.
other than
Thank
that,
you
we're
so
kind
much,
of done.
Brad. This has been a pleasure.
This has been fun. Peace.
Yes, it has. Bye for now.
Well, there's my new friend, Brandon. He lives out in the west side. I'm going to have to visit because I get down there once in a while. And I dig that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff's fun to me. So this is going to be available on good old YouTube if you want to find that somewhere. And if you have any questions, give us a call. And that's it for now. So peace, love, and happiness. This is Magic Brad signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be well. Be good. Be nice. See you later. Bye.